bread together, get in His Word, and enjoy each other in fellowship on another set apart Shabbat. We thank Yahuah for just His many wonderful just barakeens that He has bestowed upon us. We thank for how He keep our bodies here throughout the week, keep us clothed in our right mind. We just thank Him for how He protected us from all hurt, harm, and danger, seen and unseen. Just allowing us to go and travel to and fro. And we just thank Yahuah because we don't take these things for granted. And we also like to acknowledge and thank the Most High Yahuah for our visitor, our brother Frank, coming out and fellowshipping with us. He heard and saw us on YouTube and found out who we were, decided to come out and fellowship. And we appreciate you, brother. Thank you for, just gracing us with your presence and all. We just thank you for that. And thank the Most High Yahuah for our Koti Rose being here with us today. We appreciate you and glad to have you today. And we just thank you. Just thank the Most High for just everything that He does for us. We also like to give recognition to our senior moray of the congregation of Yashra'al, our moray, Kasana Yashra'al. We thank the Most High for our Zakan, Yashra'al. We thank the Most High for our officer, Chief Officer Robert Luth, Yekizakael. We just thank the Most High for Officer Zakariyahu. We thank the Most High for this, everything. We also like to even recognize our saints that are not here today. Rob Zakan, Gabariala, and his absence, and his mission, his family. We thank the Most High just for Mashiyach, her absence. We thank Him for everything. And we're going to do a continuation of the lesson we've started. We've been doing the Hebrew foundation for those that have been asking a lot of questions. People outside of the congregation have reached out to me by way of YouTube, and for those that may view us by way of Comcast Channel 25, we decided to do a foundational approach to the scriptures for everyone, so they will have a basic foundation and understanding of our Hebraic walk and what it means to them and how they should walk, and to grasp an understanding of what's going on. And today, we're going to look at a few things. We're going to look at sin and guilt, but we're going to do it by way of looking at the sin and guilt offering. And we're living in a time where you have a rapidly growing group of Israelites who are believers, but they're non-Messianic. And I think a part of the problem is when you don't have a foundation of Torah, it's easy to come up with, embrace, and endorse different ideologies and philosophies at schools and train of thought. So we're going to look at some things. And Messianic Yahusha said something very important. He said to the Talmudim, or Pharisees, the people He was speaking to, He said, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have life. He said, they witness of me. That's very important. And what I like to do is get people to look at everything they read. It's a fulfillment of Yahusha. Even when we go back to the Torah, when they were making these different offerings, we can examine scripture and see that every offering they made, it was a fulfillment of what Yahusha was going to do in the future on behalf of the nation of Yashra'al. He was the sin offering. He was the guilt offering. He's the peace offering. Everything witnessed of Him. So, without any further ado, we're going to look at some things, and we are going to look at the Torah, and we're going to see that it featured numerous sacrifices, and sometimes kind of making sense of it can be task or kind of difficult if you don't know what you're looking at. And we see that when we get to study Torah, these offerings, they broke down into 5 different categories. You had a sin offering. You had a trespass offering. You had a burnt offering. You had the meat offering. And you had the peace offering. I'll say it again. You had the sin offering, the trespass offering, the burnt offering, the meat offering, and peace offering. Now, when it comes to these offerings, you will see that the Torah also examines that group in other ways. You have first fruits, that's an offering. You have what we call a wave offering. You have what we call a heave offering. You have a vow, you have voluntary, and you have what? Drink offering. Now, also, when we look at these offerings, you're going to see they're also divided into other subgroups. You have what? You have a sweet and a non-sweet aroma. You have a sweet and a non-sweet aroma. Now,
One more you said meat offering, peace offering, trespass offering, sin offering, and the other one was?
And you get burnt offering.
Burnt offering, okay.
And then can you do the other one one more time? Can you do the other offerings one more time?
Talking about the first fruit.
Yes, say that again.
First fruit,
First fruit, wave,
wave. Do you have a heave offering?
heave.
H-E-A-V, heave. You have a vow. You have what's called a voluntary offering and a drink offering.
What was before drink? That?
Voluntary.
Voluntary, okay, thank you.
And the topic of that was what? What was the topic of that? For the first, the heave, and the wave. I mean,
So for the heave, those are a subgroup of how the offering was categorized. You had 5 categories. You had the sin, trespass, burnt meat, and peace.
and then the second one was the voluntary offering.
That was a part of the different offerings. It's all of these 5 offerings were grouped in other ways. When you go read the scripture, you have what's called a first fruit offering. You have what is called a wave offering. You have what is called a heave offering. You have what is called a vow or a voluntary offering or a drink offering. Now, for example, when we see, let's say we take for like a wave offering. We know this offering was presented by the high priest. So when we read Hebrew, that 8th chapter, I believe it is, and it talks about Yahusha, it said, if he had been a priest here on earth, we know he was not a priest here on earth. But what we do understand from the scriptures and everything that takes place in the physical with the nation of Yashra'al, the pattern comes from Shemayim all above. He is the high priest. So just like the natural priest here would have to present a wave offering, would the Mashiyach have to fulfill that?
Yes.
Did he not say, I'm the first fruit of what? Then we'll resurrect. And I was talking with the group from Myrtle Beach last Shabbat. I said, you know, if Mashiyach said he's the first fruit of them who resurrected, he's the high priest. At first fruit, is there not a wave offering that takes place? I said, what would have been his wave offering? Do y'all remember those that got up with him? Was he the only one resurrected?
No.
Or did others come up also? That was his wave offering. Not only did he present to the Father said, not only did I come and do what you asked of me, here's the proof right here. That's just an example. So when we deal with the offering, we see that Mashiyach, everything that takes place, even though it looks carnal and physical, you will see that Mashiyach fulfills all of these things. And that is the problem with the nation of Yashra'al right there. That's why he said these things will be what? A schoolmaster? He said he didn't even require sacrifice. He didn't want that sacrifice, all the animal, the blood. What did he want from the nation of Yashra'al? Obedience. And we're going to see something, as I keep talking, you kids, go ahead, hit Genesis 22 first. So, when we see these offerings, it's very important. I know sometimes this stuff, you like to just read it and glance through it and just get past it, you can get to the meat, or what you call the meat of the thing. Trust me, everything that Mashiyach has given us and written and left for is very important. Because when you skip over stuff, you're skipping over enlightenment and understanding of what he came to do.
Right.
There are mysteries concerning him. Okay then. Bereshit or Genesis 22. Let's read that right quick.
Genesis or Bereshit 22, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that Elohim did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am, or here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thy only son, Isaac or Yitzhak, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac or Yitzhak his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place which Elohim had told him. Then on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you.
Now hold on right there. That's something we have to kind of pay attention to. You notice he said, I and the lad. Now that can be very tricky if you don't understand history and keep up with timelines and dates. Do y'all not know? Most times people read that, they think Isaac is a young male, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, or so, 12. At that time, Isaac was about 30 years old.
Yeah. Our prophet is 40.
Do y'all know that? But just read that, didn't you think he was a child?
Yeah.
So do you, okay, now read that one more time, okay?
Verse 5. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you.
He said, I and the lad will go what?
Go yonder and worship.
Go yonder and worship. That's very important. Now, we hear the term worship all the time, am I right? But you know, we have the word worship very misconstrued. He said, I and the lad will go do what?
Go yonder and worship.
Go yonder and worship. Guess what Abraham was getting ready to do? He was getting ready to sacrifice who? His son. The very thing that's what? The closest to it, that he loves the most. Remember, Yahuah had what? Gave promises to who? Abraham concerning what? His seed. So here it is. Do y'all remember the story of what took place between Abraham and Sarah to get this child? For him to be Baruch the favorite with this child, now all of a sudden he's been asked what? Sacrifice his child. He's fixing to give up the very thing that's dear to him, that's near to him. So, and at the same time, Yitzhak or Isaac, guess what he's fixing to give up? His life. So you got 2 individuals it said they were going to do what?
Worship.
Worship. What the hell do y'all think it means to worship? It means to sacrifice, to give your life, to give your all back to Yahuah. Do y'all not know something happened with the nation of Yashra'al? Because of sin? When you were once in a covenant relationship, that covenant relationship, something took place and there was a breach and you were what? Disemboweled, so to speak, or separated or pushed away. It is all because of one what? Sin. What was the one thing that gave Abraham favor with the Most High? Obedience. He believed everything he said and he never second guessed it. He just did it. That's what he said. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So when we look at this, something has to take place with the nation of Yashra'al and the Father. That's why these offerings are so important. Now, since Yahuah has pushed you away and put you away, do you not know the only way that a man or the nation of Yashra'al can come back into covenant relationship with the Father is what? Through sacrifice? Do y'all not know how important these offerings were? It was the only way they could come back into relationship with Him. So as we begin to read these different offerings on, it should enlighten you to see what's to take place. Now, let's finish reading on.
Verse 6. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Yitzhak or Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife.
Stop right there. What did the Most High tell Abraham to do? Did he tell him to take his only begotten son? But y'all do know Abraham had another son, right? Ishmael was what, 13 years older than Isaac? And he told Abraham to take his only begotten son. But like we said, if you look at Torah and we look at the scripture, we can go back through Cain and Abel. We can go Jacob and Esau, Ephraim and Manasseh, Ishmael and Isaac. Y'all don't find it strange that the covenant always went with the second son or the second child? The youngest son received the firstborn blessing. So you see the same thing here. He told Abraham to go get his only begotten son, Yitzhak. And remember, this would be fixed to be a sacrifice taking place, right? So, did Yahuah not do the same thing? Did he not take his only begotten son? Was he not sacrificed on behalf of the nation of Yashra'al? Okay, now read that again, our people.
You missed verse 6, you didn't finish verse 5, actually.
Yeah, go start back at the beginning of verse 5.
Okay. And Abraham said unto his young man, Abide you here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. Right. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac or Yitzhak his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together.
Stop right there. It said Abraham did what? He laid the wood upon Isaac. So who's in possession of this wood now? Isaac. And it said they did what?
Went both together.
They went both together. Did not Mashiyach carry his stake to be crucified on? Okay, keep going.
And Isaac or Yitzhak spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, Elohim will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. Verse 9. And they came to the place where Elohim had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Yitzhak his son.
Stop right there. What we see here, the place that this would take place is, this was Mount Moriah. Am I right?
Right.
Where was Mashiyach crucified? Was it not also Mount Moriah? Do y'all see a pattern? Okay, keep going.
Okay, and he built an altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Yitzhak his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood. Verse 10. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the messenger or angel of Yahuah called unto him out of Shamayim or heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest Elohim, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns.
Stop right there. He looked behind him and he saw what? A ram. Very important. He looked behind him and saw a ram. Now, whenever you read something coming from the Hebrew language, and it's known or depicted as someone looking back, it's always an indication that for the reader to understand that whenever a person is looking back, it's speaking of a future event to take place. Y'all got that?
Yes.
So you notice he said it was a what? What kind of ram? He said it was a ram, right? Caught in the bush by what?
The horns in the thicket.
By the horns in the thicket. Was not Mashiyach crowned with what? Thorns. It's showing you a picture of the fulfillment of Mashiyach. But what's to be noted and understood is, why a ram? Because he's fulfilling something. And that's the importance of understanding the offerings. When we start getting into these, we're going to look at what a sin offering is. You see how Mashiyach feels that. But most importantly, you're going to see what a guilt offering is. And which most people don't really talk about. A guilt offering is so important because unlike a sin offering is for intentional sin, and restitution is not required. But a guilt offering is for unintentional sin, or sins out of ignorance and you not knowing. And restitution is required. Something happened with the nation of Yashra'al that there had to be a guilt offering because what? Restitution is required. What does restitution do? As we read, we'll find out. Let's go to Leviticus 1 and 9, Leviticus 2 and 9, Leviticus 3 and 5. 1 and 9, 2 and 9, 3 and 5. Let's look at these offerings a little bit more.
Is there restitution or restoration?
Restitution.
All right. On that we read earlier about the one of the mountains, the mountain of God. I found it very important that he was talking about Mount He said one of the mountains, so he must be Mount Rise, two mountains there. But he said one of the mountains is Mount Rise.
Right. Leviticus 1 and 9. You got them check? Yep. Read it, please.
Leviticus chapter 1, verse 9. But his inwards and his legs shall he wash in water, and the priest shall burn all of the altar, to be a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yahuah.
The offering made by what?
Fire.
Fire, a sweet what?
Savor.
Savor unto you. Okay then. Leviticus 2 and 9.
And the priest shall take from the great offering a memorial thereof, and shall burn it unto the altar. It is an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yahuah.
Okay, we see we have twice a burnt offering and it's a what? A sweet savor unto you, savor unto you. Leviticus 3 and 5. Leviticus 3 and 5. You got it up?
Yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
Aaron's sons shall burn it on the altar upon the burnt sacrifice, which is upon the wood that is on the fire. It is an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yahuah.
Offering made by fire, it's a sweet savor unto who? You. Okay then, let's go to Leviticus 3 and 16 through verse 17.
And the priest shall burn them upon the altar. It is the food of the offering, made by fire, for a sweet savor unto the fat. Is
Second.
all that?
Read that again now.
And the priest shall burn them upon. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar. It is the food of the offering, made by fire, for a sweet savor unto the fat. Is the sausage.
Okay then. If then the priest shall burn them on the altar unto what? Unto the what? Fat. And what else?
It shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings.
Okay then. So with this particular offering, burn to the fat. The fat belongs to who? Yahuah. The fat is the most choicest part of it. Have y'all ever eat lamb chops?
Yes, sir.
What's the best part of lamb chops? When you get to that area around where the fat is, you notice that it's more flavorful than the lean of the rest of the part. I'm not talking to eating the fat alone, but the lean, that's outlined with the fat. Let me tell y'all something. That belongs to you. Okay, then let's go to Leviticus 7 and 23. Cody, Pauline, if you would get that. Leviticus 7 and 23 through verse 25.
23 verse. Speak to the children of Israel, saying, do not eat any fat of the bull or sheep or goat, and the fat of the dead body, and the fat of what is torn is used for any purpose, but you do not eat it all. For whosoever eateth fat of the beast, when men bring it as an offering made by fire to Yahuah, even the being who eateth shall be cut off from his people.
Okay then. Now, I heard somebody tell me one time that we're not supposed to eat when we cook lamb chops or whatever, we're not supposed to eat the fat. okay then. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you give him the scripture and all that, but you know now, when he was saying this, you know, these meats were sacrifices or offerings. So you have to apply to when he was stating, what was he talking about when he told them not to do these things? A lot of us wouldn't make it in. If that was the case. But see, in those days, fat was considered a delicacy. But the best portion belongs to Yahuah. Okay, offerings that included animal sacrifice, they included what? A sweet offering. Even the offering as a whole was not sweet. Let's go to Leviticus 4 and 31. Let's see what it says. Leviticus 4 and 31. You got that word?
And he should take away all the fat thereof, as the fat is taken away from all the sacrifices of the shalom offerings. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor unto Yahuah. And the priest shall make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him.
All right. I'm going to ask Coach Miriam if she would get Hebrews 10 and 1. We're going to ask Anki Frankie if he would get Ephesians 5, verse 1 and 2. Ephesians 5, verse 1 and 2. Yeah, you would.
Hebrews 10, verse 1. For the Torah, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never, with those sacrifices which they offered year by year, continually make the comers thereunto perfect.
Okay, read that one more time. Listen to this real good now.
For the Torah, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never, with those sacrifices which they offered year by year, continually make the comers thereunto perfect.
Okay then. So these sacrifices were what?
Shadows.
Shadows of things to come. They were temporal. They're pictures or shadows of something that's going to take place in the future. Okay. Brother Frank.
Ephesians 5 and 1.
Get 1 and 2.
Be ye therefore followers of Yahuah as dear children, and walk in love as Mashiyach also hath loved us, and have given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to Yahuah for a sweet smelling savor.
Y'all hear that? The Yahuah did what? Yahusha gave himself as a what? Offering for us? What?
Sweet smelling
A
savor.
sweet smelling savor. Everything you read about, everything is a picture of the fulfillment and what Yahusha did on behalf of the nation of Yashra'al. Now, sin offerings. A sin offering was given where sin was unintentional and where restitution was not possible. As a sin offerings were given where the sin was unintentional and where restitution was not possible. By unintentional, what it meant is that there was no desire to sin, but this offering was required once the person is made aware that he sins. Let's go to Leviticus 5 and 1. Leviticus 5:1. You got it up? Yeah.
And if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing, and is a witness, whether he has seen or known it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity.
Verse 2. Go ahead and read verse 2 and 3 also.
Or if a soul touch any unclean thing, whether it be a carcass of an unclean beast, or a carcass of an unclean cow, or the carcass of unclean creeping things, and if it be hidden from him, he also shall be unclean and guilty. Or if he touch the uncleanness of man, whatsoever uncleanness it be, that a man shall be defiled withal, and it be hid from him when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty.
Okay then. He shall be what?
Guilty.
Guilty. Okay. Let's go to Leviticus 5. You read 4, right?
No. I thought it was 3.
Go ahead and read 4.
Or if a soul swear, pronouncing with his lips to do evil, or to do good, whatsoever it be, that a man shall pronounce with an oath, and it be hid from him when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty in one of these.
Okay. So we have 3 things going on here. We have the first thing is what? Not testify, found about what? Some you witnessed. Okay then. The next was touching something that was unclean. Okay then. Then the third thing was what? A thoughtless promise. Said so many words, whether it was good or bad, or making an oath. Okay then, let's go to the second one. Let's go to Numbers 15 and verse 22 through 29. Numbers 15, verse 22 through 29. You got it, you get that? Numbers 15, verse 22 through 29. Go ahead.
And if ye have erred, and not observed all these commandments which Yahuah hath spoken unto Moshe, even all that Yahuah hath commanded you by the hand of Moshe, from the day that Yahuah commanded Moshe, and henceforward among your generations. Then it shall be, if aught be committed by ignorance without the knowledge of the congregation, that all the congregation shall offer one young bullock for a burnt offering, for a sweet savor unto Yahuah, with his meat offering and his drink offering, according to the manner, and one kid of the goats for a sin offering.
Okay. Go ahead.
And the priest shall make an atonement for all the congregation of the children of Yashra'al, and it shall be forgiven them, for it is ignorance. And they shall bring their offering, a sacrifice made by fire unto Yahuah, and their sin offering before Yahuah for their ignorance. And it shall be forgiven all the congregation of the children of Yashra'al, and the stranger that sojourneth among them, seeing all the people were in ignorance. And if any soul sin through ignorance, then he shall bring a she-goat of the first year for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for the soul that sinneth ignorantly, when he sinneth by ignorance before Yahuah, to make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. Verse 29. You shall have one law for him that sinneth through ignorance, both for him that is born among the children of Yashra'al, and for the stranger that sojourns among them.
Okay then, so this particular offering or sin offering was what?
Sin of ignorance.
Sin of ignorance. Those being ignorant to the law. Okay. Let's look at something here now. When we look at these offerings, you're going to see something, that the more responsibility you had, the more expensive or the greater of your sacrifice or offering had to be. You'll notice that the priest, because they were responsible for what? The law. Their sacrifice most times was something of great value, like what? Bull. But you see, the lower you are and the least you have, the less is required of you for your offering. Now let's look at these things. Now all of this is going somewhere. We're going here for a reason. And this is why we want to get started looking at all the offerings. Do you know how many times we read these same verses and we have no idea of what's actually taking place? We read these different offerings, but we don't know what's going on. But all of this is leading somewhere. I'll give you an example now. When we look and start looking to the gift offering, we know the gift offering have to be sacrificed, depending on what it is, by the priest. So, with that being said, when we begin to look at Yahusha, when it was time for his crucifixion, y'all notice he was in somebody else's possession at first? Who had him before he was turned over to his own people?
Herod.
Did y'all remember Pilate?
Pilate and Herod. Yeah.
What did Pilate's wife tell Pilate?
I've nothing to do with this just man.
Don't you have nothing to do with this? You need to wash what from your hand? What? Wash the blood off your hands. So what did Pilate do in return?
Turn him over to Herod.
And then what did Herod do?
Turn him back over to the people.
Turn him back over to who?
His people.
His people. Because guess what? When it comes to a what? A guilt offering, another nation couldn't do that. And because of what the offering was, any individual couldn't do it. It had to be done by the hands of the priest. Is it making any sense?
Yeah.
So when we went back to Abraham, it's a reason why he said he looked in the bush, he saw what? A ram. And when we begin to look at the gift offering, you're going to see who were required to give what? Because everybody's required to give something, but you'll see that in the category. Matter of fact, let's go here right quick. Leviticus 4, verse 1 through 5. You get the guy in.
And Yahuah spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Yashra'al, saying, If a soul shall sin through ignorance against any of the commandments of Yahuah concerning things which ought not to be done, and shall do against any of them, if the priest that is anointed do sin according to the sin of the people, then let him bring for his sin, which he hath sinned, a young bullock without...
Stop right there. A young what?
Bullock.
Who had to bring this?
The priest.
For what?
Sin of his people.
His sin. Okay then. Let's now go to Leviticus 4, verse 13 through 15. Mm-hmm.
13. And if the whole congregation of Yashra'al sin through ignorance, and the things be hid from the eyes of the assembly, and they have done somewhat against any of the commandments of Yahuah concerning things which should not be done, and are guilty, when the sin which they have sinned against it is known, then the congregation shall offer a young bullock for the sin, and bring him before the tabernacle of the congregation. And the elders of the congregation shall lay their hands upon the head of the bullock before Yahuah, and the bullock shall be killed before Yahuah.
The priest bring a bull, the nation bring what? A bull. And the elders of the people what? Shall lay their hands on the bull. Now, when we go back and we see how Israel, when they sacrifice these bulls, you know, we go back to the scripture, we can count up how many bulls they sacrificed.
7.
They sacrificed how many?
7.
70. Why 70?
The nations.
For the nation. So when we go back to Genesis, is it the 10th chapter when we do the table of nations? and you begin to add up the sons and the nations, you get a total of 70. So when the nation of Yashra'al sacrificed these bulls, it always added up to 70, because not only did they have to sacrifice on behalf of their sin, but did not there were nations that sojourned with them? And what was the overall purpose of the nation of Yashra'al in the first place? Were they supposed to teach the nation and be a light unto the nation?
Yes.
So if the nation of if the people given this responsibility and this duty, if they have gone off course and they have become wicked, they become sinful, what do you think of, where do the nation stand? So by right, they would have to sacrifice on their behalf as well. Okay, then let's go to Leviticus 4, verse 22 through 24. Akoti Rose, Leviticus 4, verse 22 through 24.
My Bible is the first thing to
Okay.
When a ruler sins and by mistake has done any of the commands of Yahuah, his argument, which are not to be done, and shall be killed. Or if his sin, which he has sinned, is made known to him, then he shall bring as his offering a buck of the goats, a male, a perfect one. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the goat, and slaughter it at the place where they slaughtered and they slaughter the burnt offering before Yahuah. And if it is a sin offering, let me read that again. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the goat, and slaughter it at the place where they slaughter the burnt offering before Yahuah. It is a sin offering.
Okay, and so the leaders had to offer what? A young male what? Goat. Okay, let's go to Leviticus 4, verse 27 through 29. More reconciled about you.
If any one of the common people sin through ignorance, while he doeth somewhat against any of the commandments of Yahuah concerning things which ought not to be done, and be guilty, or if his sin, which he hath sinned, come to his knowledge, then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a female without blemish, with his sin which he hath sinned. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay the sin offering in the place of the burnt offering. And the priest shall take of the blood thereof with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat is taken away from all the sacrifice of peace offering, and the priest shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor unto Yahuah. And the priest shall make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. And he shall bring a lamb for a sin offering, and he shall bring a female without blemish. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay it for a sin offering, in the place where they shall kill the burnt offering.
So what we see here, common people had to bring what? A young female goat, a female lamb. Okay. Let's go to Leviticus 5 and 7. Get that two more right here. Since you're right there, please.
Leviticus
5 and 7.
5 and 7. Vayikra 5 and 7. And if he be not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring for his trespass which he hath committed 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, unto Yahuah, one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering.
see here, he said, if you were not able to bring a lamb, that pretty much you were poor.
Right.
Because all of nations, you should be able to have a lamb. But if you didn't, that means you were without, or you were considered poor. So we had the priests had to offer a bull. The elders, the whole nation of Yashra'al had to offer a bull. It said the elders had to lay their hands on the bull. The leaders of the nation of Yashra'al had to what? Offer a young male goat. The common people, a young female goat. The poor, 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons. Now you see how they go from expensive to least expensive?
Yeah.
And it was all according to how much responsibility you had and your position within the nation of Yashra'al. Okay. And let's see Leviticus 5 and 11 more.
Leviticus 5 and 11. But if he be not able to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he that sinned shall bring for his offering the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a sin offering. He shall put no oil upon it, neither shall he put any frankincense thereon, for it is a sin offering. Then shall he bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it, even a memorial thereof, and burn it on the altar, according to the offerings made by fire unto Yahuah. It is a sin offering.
Okay, so what you see here is these offerings that were required by the nation of Yashra'al according to their position and responsibility. If you also notice, you saw how he told them, or the leaders or priests had to put their hands on the offering, on the animal as it was sacrificed. What was the purpose of that?
The priest laid their hand on Mashiyach. Is that the same thing you're saying?
It's pretty much, yeah, it's leading toward that, but remember he said the law is supposed to be what? A schoolmaster.
Right.
To them. So when they had to put their hands on these animals, it was to remind them of their responsibility for keeping up and observing the Torah. It was to remind them of their responsibility of keeping Torah. But you notice the people who have what? Committed the wrongdoing, they're not the ones that are being what? But something else has been taken and put in their place.
Right.
So when it comes to our worship, our sacrifice, when we go back to Abraham and Isaac, do you not know when they sacrificed that ram, it was equivalent, it was just like Isaac was being sacrificed? Mashiyach, he took it as that. I mean, it was no less than Isaac being on the altar being sacrificed. So what you see is, because of Isaac's obedience, because of Abraham's obedience, guess what he did? Mashiyach took that and made it equivalent to a very own, let me say something, Isaac being sacrificed, because a lot of times we teach that in the Hebrew nation that the Most High didn't believe in human sacrifice. That's not necessarily true. It depends on how you look at it. He always required us to sacrifice ourselves. Not to, but what did he want? Did he really want to take your life?
Obedience.
He just wanted your heart, your obedience. He wanted your obedience. That's all he wanted from the nation of Yashra'al. He wanted their obedience. Because we see something in that. When we get ready to go start looking into the gift offering, we're going to see something. But you see here, with these offerings here, they're for intentional sin. But you notice what? After your sacrifice, that's enough. But now when we start looking at the gift offering, your sacrifice is not enough. Not only do you have to sacrifice for your sins, but what else you have to do? If I wronged you, if I stole something from you, guess what? I got to pay that back. Do I have to pay the equal amount back? The same thing I stole from you?
No, with interest.
I got to give more.
Yeah.
Now you see something, restitution is required. What does restitution do?
It justifies the deed.
It what?
It justifies the
It does, but it also does something else. What?
Restore.
It does what?
Restore.
It restores what?
deed. Yeah.
It restores the relationship between you.
Thank you. So it restores what?
The relationship between you and
It restores the relationship between you and the person you stole from. You didn't have a problem with Mashiyach, you have a problem with Yahuah. But he had to do something in order to do what? To restore or bring you back into what? Covenant relationship with him.
Right.
Do y'all understand? See how all of this is working and how all of it is going somewhere? Okay. Okay, then it says some of the blood was put on the horn of the altar of incense. For a congregational sin offering, blood was what? Sprinkled 7 times before the veil, separating the most set apart places. The remainder was poured where? Beneath the altar. So the fat and some choice what? Organs were sacrificed before Yahuah as a what? Peace offering. Let's go to Leviticus 4:8-10. Yes, Leviticus 4:8-10. This might be a lot of reading, but I guarantee when you go back home and you begin to read it and start looking at it from this aspect, you're going to see it'll show you why you just can't just speed race and go through the scriptures and go through Torah like that. Because I know when you start looking at the Torah itself, the commandments, all 613, 14 of them, some said people said 613, some said 614. And when you begin to look at everything that's commanded of us, it's for a reason. So it's very important, it's imperative that you examine them and not just read through, because Mashiyach is in everything we read in this book. Everything we read is about him. You can't get around it. Go ahead, Miriam, if you would.
Leviticus chapter 4, verse 8. And he shall take off from it all the fat of the bullock for the sin offering, the fat that covers the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver with the kidneys, it shall he take away. And it was taken off from the bullock of the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall burn them upon the altar of the burnt offering.
Okay then. Leviticus 4, verse 11-12. Continue reading the book.
And the skin of the bullock, and all his flesh, with his head, and with his legs, and his inwards, and his dung, even the whole bullock shall he carry forth without the camp unto a clean place, where the ashes are poured out, and burn him on the wood with fire, where the ashes are poured out, shall he be burned.
Okay, and let's go look at Hebrews 13, verse 10 through 13.
Hebrews 13.
Yes, sir. And if you will, you read that word, please. Numbers 15, verse 30. We're going to read all the way to verse 36.
Numbers 15.
Yes, ma'am. Numbers 15, verse 30 through 36.
So Hebrews 10:13.
Yes.
13.
Hebrews 13, verse.
Oh, 13.
Yes, sir. Hebrews 13, verse 10 through 13.
We have an altar whereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle. For the bodies of those beasts, whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin, are burned without the camp. Wherefore, the Mashiyach also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Let us go forth, therefore, unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach.
Is it let us therefore do what now?
Let us go forth, therefore, unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach.
Okay. Now let's look at something. Numbers 15, verse 30 through 36.
Numbers 15, verse 30. But the soul that doeth aught presumptuously, whether he be born in the land or a stranger, the same reproacheth Yahuah, and that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
Stop right there. An intentional sin we're talking about right here. It says that soul shall be what? Cut off. What does it mean to be cut off from the people? It means to be what? Exile. Go ahead.
Verse 31. Because he hath despised the word of Yahuah, and have broken his commandment, that soul shall utterly be cut off. His iniquity shall be upon him. Verse 32. And while the children of Yashra'al were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Shabbat day.
Stop right here. Pay very close attention. While they was in the wilderness, they did what? Found a man gathering sticks on the Shabbat. Go ahead.
And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moshe and Aaron, and unto all the congregation. And they put him inward, because it was not declared what should be done to him. And Yahuah said unto Moshe, the man shall be surely put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp, and stoned him with stones, and he died, as Yahuah commanded Moshe.
Okay then. So when you go back to Hebrew 13 and 10, you see something taking place. You see something being carried away or taken without the camp, or outside the camp, or exiled outside the camp. So when you see an intentional sin being carried out, one that took place on the Shabbat, you notice the individual was what? Exiled first, then put to death. Now, always think about the nation of Yashra'al when you read this book. What did the Mashiyach say? Well, matter of fact, let's go to Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter right quick. And after I make this point, we're going to cut off here and we'll continue next Shabbat. Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter. More if you would, when you start reading that.
Verse 1.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it should come to pass, when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before you, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether Yahuah your Elohim have driven you, and shall return unto Yahuah thy Elohim, or your Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day.
That's good, right there, boy. He said, these things gonna come to mind where?
In the land where I have driven you.
Among all nations in the land where I've driven you. Why were they driven? Why were they in another land and not in their own land? Because disobedient what? Did they intentionally sin? And so what happened when you intentionally sin? You're exiled. And what's part 2 of it? You're exiled and what? And you also put to death. What did he tell Israel when he made covenant with them? Did he not say, choose you this day what? He told them, choose you this day what? Life. And y'all right along part 2, but he told, choose ye this day life. And observing by what? Observing to do his commandment. But what did he say was going to happen if they did not observe it?
Death and evil.
It would be death. It would be death. Is that not what happened to Mashiyach? Because he took on our wickedness and our sin and unrighteousness? He was exiled, carried away from his people. He was put to death. And on the 3rd day, he did what? He got up. But is not everything that happened to Mashiyach happened to the nation of Yashra'al? He did not tell Yashra'al, he said, in 2 days have I smitten thee, and on the 3rd day I shall raise you up. You never read that?
No.
It's like Ragu is in there. You know that reference is more.
What was the question?
Which said, he told, through the prophet, he said, in 2 days have I smitten thee, and on the 3rd day I will raise you up.
I think that's Hosea 6:1.
6:1, you got it.
Hosea 6:1.
Hosea 6:1. You got lucky?
Oh, you want to be
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Come and let us return unto Yahuah, for he had torn and he will heal us. He had smitten and he will bind us up. After 2 days he will revive us, and the 3rd day he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight.
Okay then. Just like he hung on the tree, what happened to us when we got our ancestors brought in? Did they not hang on trees as well?
What's the question?
I said he was hanging on the tree, right?
Yeah.
I know people said cross stake, but the scripture tells he hung on a tree. I said, what happened to his people when they hung on a tree? The same thing. Nothing changed. The curse is he that hangs what? On a tree. Why were our people hanging on trees? Was that not a part of the curses of Deuteronomy 28?
Yeah.
Why was Mashiyach hanging on a tree? Because he had took on something. Oh, yes. Nothing changed. At this time, we're going to come on, let's say, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.